Hey guys, this is Miss Went, and I want to show you page 14 in your packet called More Binary Ionic Practice. Okay, so if you look at the page, there isn't an instruction page for this one. It's the same thing you were doing on the previous worksheet, except it's just set up different in the form of a grid. Okay, so it's electronic on Schoology, but I think you probably have a paper copy. So, that's from the last video. So make sure you have your periodic table out as always. And then we have our worksheet here. So there's a couple questions at the top we should talk about. So number one, what does binary mean? Bi means two, the BI. So binary means two. So binary is going to be something that has two things. So for a binary ionic compound, it's an ionic compound that has two kinds of atoms. Okay. Now, when we make them, we always have one that's a metal and one that's a non-metal, which means one is a positive and one's a negative, and that's why they stick together. The positive is attracted to the negative charge. Okay, so when we put these guys together, there's always going to be one that has a positive charge, one that has a negative charge, and they will be attracted to each other. Okay, so that's why the two atoms, or three or four, whatever, how many ever atoms we kind of end up with, that's why they stick together, is those positive and negative charges. Okay, now question 3, what's an oxidation number? Those are the little plus and minus numbers you have in the corner of your periodic table. And that tells you what kind of ion that atom will make. Number that tells you what kind of ion that atom will make. So it tells you if it's positive or negative, so if it's going to lose or gain electrons, and it tells you how many electrons that's going to be moving with that. Okay? So that'll help you with those top 3 questions. Go ahead and pause the video if you need to get that info down. Now for the grids here, you are going to do the exact same thing as the previous worksheet. We are going to put two atoms together, and what we're going to be doing is taking the atom on the top and the atom on the side for each box and seeing what the formula would be if I put them together. So how many of each atom do I need to make sure all the electrons are used and everybody's happy and stable? So I need to look up the oxidation numbers of these atoms. So I've got F and Na. So I'm going to go up to my periodic table here. Let's see, here's Na, number 11, is sodium, and that has a +1 charge. So that means my other one has to be negative. So I'm going to look over on the other side of the table, and here is F. F has a -1 charge. So I'm going to write those charges right here. So I've got them. And you may want to just look up all the charges at once. So you got them, and that's perfectly cool, instead of doing them one at a time. Okay. Now when I put these guys together with formula, remember the positive, the metal, always goes first. And in this case, my charges are going to cancel. A +1 and a -1 will cancel each other. So I just need to write Na for sodium and then F for fluorine. Okay, the numbers cancel and the charges cancel. So I don't need any numbers or charges. This would be my answer. Okay, so let's go to the next one here. I need to look up Ag on the periodic table. So if I'm going to put it with a negative, it must be positive. And remember, we had our staircase line here that kind of separates metals and nonmetals. This is kind of our separator between positives and negatives. And Ag is actually kind of in the center here. And the little box in the corner tells me it makes +1 ions. So silver there has 1 extra electron to get rid of. So I'll write +1 there. So the sodium and the silver have the same charge, so they're going to pretty much do the same thing. The charges cancel. So I'm going to write my +1 first, my -1 second. Okay, pretty easy. Let's do the next one. Mg. Need to look it up on my periodic table. Let's see. Right here, number 12. So this one has a +2 charge. So in this example, my charges are not going to cancel. So I'm going to have to do the crisscross thing. Okay, now I always write the positive first, the negative second. I'm going to leave a little space because I might need a number in there. And I need to cross the charges. Now, if you want to, you can even write the charges in here. Okay, you can do a little +2 and a little -1 so you kind of see what you're doing and say, okay, the 1 goes down here. And you can write the 1, but you don't have to. And then this 2 would cross over and go down here with the fluorine. Okay, so now I don't need these anymore, so you can erase them. If you just want to leave them and show me how you did it, that's fine. But my answer would be MgF2. And I said, if you want to put a 1 there, you can. Pretty much everybody just leaves it blank. Just like in math class, we don't write 1x. We usually just write x. And it means the same thing. The 1 is just extra info we don't really need. All right. I'm going to skip down a row here, and I'm going to use this sulfur for a little bit. So if I look up S on the periodic table over here, S has a -2 charge. Now, it does have some other options here, but we always use the top number unless something tells us otherwise. So I'm going to say S is a -2. So now I'm going to put this S with these other metals up here. So with the sodium, Na, let's see, the +1 and the -2 don't cancel. So if I crisscross these, I'm going to need 2 sodiums, so that goes to the other one, to match up with 1 sulfur. Okay, Ag is going to have the same pattern because it has the same charge. I'm going to need 2 of those silvers, Ag, to match up with 1 sulfur. Okay, now my third box here, hey, this is easy. -2, +2, they cancel. I don't need any numbers. I just write the positive ion first, the negative ion second, charges cancel, all is good. Okay, so go ahead and try to do the rest of this top box. So I'm going to have you pause the video, try the rest of this top piece, and I'll have the answers for you to check in just a moment. Okay, so pause the video, finish this top box, so do all of these, and then we'll check your answers. Okay guys, so I have filled in the rest of the chart here so you can kind of check your work. As you do these, you kind of might notice some patterns. Okay, so like the Na and the Ag, and then over here the Rb all have the same +1 charge. Well, if I look, the numbers of the subscripts are all the same. So in the middle row here we had Na2, then Ag2, then skip over here Rb2. All the subscripts in these 3 boxes were the same because the charges I was matching with were the same too. So you're going to see the same combinations of subscripts in a lot of things as you go along. Okay, now the bottom chart is exactly the same thing, just different atoms. So look up the charges on the periodic table and try it out. You'll notice you have a couple that have a 3 charge. Excuse me. So that would be something that I didn't demonstrate on this grid, but you've seen before. So go ahead and try to finish that up, turn it in for points, and we'll see how you do. Have a great day, guys.